Commanders Nation, we are live. It is week one. Brian, how good does it feel right now to be where we are? Week one, the Commanders are back. Man, no drama, no nothing. It's just football, dude. It is just football.
It's been a long, long wait. I can't. I'm just so happy that it's here. Getting through all of the sales stuff, who the QB competition, preseason training. It's all done now,
Yeah.
and now we can play football, good, bad, or indifferent. We're just going to be talking about football, and I'm happy, man. I can't wait to see what happens here in a few minutes.
Man, and shout out to everybody that's at the game today. I
Oh
know
yeah.
the elements are not the best,
Mm-mm.
but you're there. You get to enjoy it, man. Keep that stadium rocking and loud. Man, I haven't felt this good about the start of a season since I can't remember, man. And I don't even know like what I expect from the team this year, but just where we're at as a franchise, dude, I haven't felt this good in I don't know, maybe 2012, I think, you know?
Yeah, and look, there's something to be said for having positive momentum on your side because we haven't had that. We've had the worst. We've had the other thing. We've had the negative momentum. Every time before kickoff, how often do we get a new news story of some scandal or some player drama or some comments that were made about the team or about the owner, and it was always spiraling. Something was always happening. But no, now it's just, hey, the stadium, $40 million going into the stadium. There's new things. There's old players coming back to celebrate, and there's optimism about the team. Does that translate to winning games? We don't know. We'll see. But it's certainly better than what we've had, which is just, well, you can only be so good. You're only going to do so much because of all the other stuff. Well, all that other stuff is gone. So yeah, people are excited and they're happy and like, hey, after 25 years of being in last or laughing stock, we deserve it. We deserve a little bit of good momentum going our way. So yeah, happy for everybody, and especially everybody who's at the game, because it's packed house, sold out. All kinds of people are showing up, athletes, celebrities, start like it's crazy.
Like at this point, if Jesus got a ticket for this game, I would not be surprised because
Exactly.
that's how many people are coming to the game. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy right now. Weather-wise, for anybody at the game or folks that are going to watch, looks like there's going to be a little bit of rain at 1 o'clock, but then it starts to clear up. I think it's just going to be cloudy from like 2 o'clock on. So we should have a pretty decent game. I think the field actually handles water pretty well from what we've seen in the last couple of years since they redid the turf there. But what do you expect, man? How do you expect them to approach a game? Do you think we're going to dial it back because of the weather, excuse me, and run the ball a little bit more? Or do you think that Eric Bieniemy is just going to do what Eric Bieniemy does, and that's throw the football?
I think he's going to do what Eric Bieniemy does, and he's going to throw the football. Now, if it becomes a problem, right, and we can't pass block, or the guys are dropping passes because the ball's so wet, that type of thing, then I think, yeah, you've got no choice at that point but to adjust your game plan. But if as long as the field is not too waterlogged and guys are able to run around, really, with no issues, I think the game plan, holds up, and they're going to throw it around. If we're just watching them play in a lake, right? Like if they're just playing on a river out there, then yeah, you're probably going to see Brian Robinson, Chris Rodriguez, 30 carries, and that's that. Because at that point, there's really not much you can do in that type of condition. But I think they kept the tarp on from yesterday till today, till maybe just a few minutes ago. I saw some videos of them taking the tarp off. So hopefully the field's in decent condition, and hopefully the rain stops here and it's not too bad. And we can see the ball flying around a little bit today, because I don't think anybody wants to see them just kind of 30 carries and nothing else happen. And not in today's game, like especially for this environment. I think people are anxious to see the ball fly around.
Yeah, and I think we will see some of that Bieniemy magic. And you saw Kansas City without Bieniemy. Hopefully, we see what Washington looks like with that classic Bieniemy style. What's going to be important today is Logan Thomas. How healthy is he going into this game, and how many snaps can he give us, and then what can Cole Turner do behind him? I think you're going to see a lot of interaction between the quarterback and the tight ends today. And we didn't see that a lot we saw it with Cole Turner in the preseason, but just Logan Thomas being unhealthy through most of the offseason. Is their timing ready? Are they ready to work together and move the ball down the field? I don't know, but I expect Jahan Dotson to do what Dotson does.
Mhm.
Maybe we don't see as many deep shots as we would have on a better weather day to Diami and some of the other deep threats that we have. But I think this is going to be one of those games where it's a statement game, right? New era, right? New ownership, new quarterback and new offensive coordinator. So we got a whole new everything that matters, basically, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun to see how we roll this out and what we get from this group today, man.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Statement game, right? There's a lot of people who've got statements to make, right? First off, Ron Rivera, right? He needs to make a statement that, hey, I picked the quarterback and I picked the offensive coordinator. I was right about those, right? He kept Scott Turner here for 3 years and it was a disaster. Like it was a disaster from day one. I mean, there's no other way to put it. So he wants to prove that he was right. Eric Bieniemy wants to prove that he's been the guy this whole time that the media has said can't do it, right? That they've printed story after story. He can't do it. He's not a head coach. It was everybody else. It was Mahomes. It was Andy Reid. It was all these other guys. So he has something to prove. Sam Howell's got something to prove too, right? He's just a fifth round pick. He can't even put 2 feet in front of each other. He's just a fifth round pick. All of these guys want to prove something. So I think there's going to be a lot of people looking to, hey, if there's a chance to run up the score or to just kind of emphasize that, hey, we're not the same old team, you're going to see Ron Rivera, Eric Bieniemy, Sam Howell. They're all going to kind of make that extra little bit of effort today. So I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Yeah, what's your point total for the Commanders today if you had to predict it, given the weather conditions and things like that?
So I was I said 35-14 during the week, and without looking at the field or just seeing what I've seen so far, the field, it looks to be in decent shape. I'm still going to go 35-14. Everyone says, well, it's closer. It's the NFL. It's week one. Look, you don't get too many chances to score points in the NFL because everybody's good. And when you get a team like the Cardinals, you really got to make a statement and show, hey, this isn't close. We are an improved team. Because if you're in a dogfight with the Cardinals late, you might as well give the win to the Cardinals because that's not a good look for you. If you're telling me that you've bet on all these things, Bieniemy, Hal, knew this, knew that, knew everything, and it's 7-6 in the fourth quarter, and we're trying to throw a Hail Mary to win the game, that's not a good look at all.
And I
So,
don't think we will be, by the way. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think we're going to be up by plenty going into the fourth quarter. And so
oh,
I think you'll see a lot of rushes in the fourth quarter just to sort of salt the game away. But I think so. I said 26 points. I'm going to stick with that because I don't think Arizona is going to be able to move the football whatsoever. And we'll take our foot off the gas maybe later on in the game and turn the page towards next week rather easily. So I'm going to stay with 26. How we get them, I really don't care. I don't care if we get them through the air or on the ground. Doesn't matter to me as long as we put the ball in the end zone and the ball between the uprights. So I'm looking forward to that. What do you think we're doing at kick returner today? Who's handling that? And punt returner?
yeah, so that is going to be Jamison Crowder. He was elevated, and I've seen some comments from some of the beat reporters. He will be taking Dax Milne's spot in terms of the wide receiver depth chart and also punt return. So you're going to see Crowder, whatever he's got left. Time since he left here hasn't been that kind to him. He's had a lot of injury-plagued seasons, and he's bounced around to a couple of different teams. So hopefully he's healthy now. We're probably not going to have to rely on him too much as a wide receiver. So it'll be interesting to see how he does as a punt returner, and hopefully we can get some positive yards out of it. Dax was just great at fair catching, so if he can get it just a handful of yards, he'll be doing much better than Dax.
Yeah, I think I looked at Crowder's stats. He's been pretty consistent with the exception of last year and what he does for the teams that he goes to, 600 or 700 yards, a couple of touchdowns, stuff like that. I don't think that's what we're expecting from him here, though. I think he is primarily here for the return game and his return abilities. Shout out to Super Chef. Don't be nervous, man. I think this is a walk in the park. I know some of us are superstitious and don't like to hear that, but trust me when I tell you this game is a walk in the park. That's how I feel anyway. I think the only thing that makes me nervous about Arizona is the running back, James Conner. He just finds a way.
Good. He's
He
good.
finds a way.
Yep.
And he's not elite by any means, but he just finds a way. I don't think that's enough, though. To me, and I've said this all the time, the Cardinals are all in for Caleb Williams or Quinn Ewers or the guy Drake May or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
they are taking no chances at trying to come up number 2 in the draft next year. I think this is a game for us just to do whatever we want, and I think that's what we will do. And y'all know that's crazy because I don't even talk like that because I'm normally pretty cautious about my predictions, right? But this is just one of those weeks. It's a
Yeah.
week to have fun on the field, man.
Yeah, and you're right about James Conner. He's an NFL running back. Like legitimately, he's a good player. But yeah, I think you're right. They could give him 20 carries, and I could see him with like 80, 90 yards. And maybe the wet track helps us a little bit more than if it were a dry field in terms of the run game or stopping the run. So yeah, is he a concern? Yeah, absolutely. The run defense hasn't looked that great in the preseason, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. Like you said, I don't think he's got enough in the tank to kind of carry a football team and just kind of be unstoppable. I mean, he's good, but I don't think he's that good to do that. So yeah, I absolutely am with you. This has to be a game where if we're going to set the tone for the season and tell everybody that this is look, you've got to give the fans something to come back for. And if you're struggling in this game, it's going to make it real hard for fans to come back. So that's why it's so important for them to get out there and make a statement and say, hey, it's not the same old team. Well, we have a different mission now. And hopefully we get to see that.
Yeah, the Ian Rappaport put out that Zach Ertz and Hollywood Brown are both going to give it a go today.
All right.
That does help them.
Oh, yeah.
Now, who's going to get him the ball? Do you trust Josh Dobbs to do anything of relevance today? I don't. I've seen him play. I like Josh Dobbs, incredibly intelligent quarterback. I just haven't seen him in the NFL. And so I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Defensively, who do you think is going to shine today, Brian?
This is going to be a game for the secondary. I think the secondary is going to come out again. You've got maybe a little bit of a wet field, maybe a receiver slips, maybe the guys aren't running as fast on the outside, and I can see an Emmanuel Forbes, a Kendall Fuller getting a tip ball, a tip pass, or jumping a route and getting an interception. Cam Curl, Derek Forrest, somebody in that secondary is going to come up with a couple of plays today. Any one of those guys would be a safe bet today. So I think the secondary is going to shine. I think the defensive line, I don't think there's going to be a lot of sacks because I just don't think that Arizona is going to run the football enough. Or throw the football enough for opportunities to get a bunch of sacks. Because so I think we're going to run the football, or I think they're going to run the football. And when they do throw, I think there's going to be some turnovers because I think our secondary has shown through the preseason that they're playing a little bit more aggressively. And hopefully, hey, if you want to get turnovers, this is the game for it. This is absolutely the game for it.
Yeah. We got to see Cam Curl come up big, supporting the run, like we talked about with James Conner. And I actually think Derek Forrest could have a monster game today.
Ooh, yeah.
Derek Forrest is him and Deron Payne, my two favorite defensive players, man. They are both just angry dudes when they play, and they bring it. I think he could have a beast of a game. You know what Deron Payne's going to do. You know what John Allen's going to do, and Montez Sweat. Inactives for the Commanders on, let's see, we got William Bradley King, Trent Scott, the tackle. Chris Paul is inactive today. Curtis Hodges, Mitchell Tinsley, and Chase Young. No real big surprises for me. I thought maybe Chris Paul would be up. That's the only one that I'm kind of like, okay, why is he down? But the coaches have a plan for that, so we'll see there. Any surprises to you, man?
Yeah, and I think the Chris Paul thing, him being down, is probably because of Stromberg's ability to play guard. We saw the last couple of preseason games, practices, they started using him at guard more, and I think that's probably why. Otherwise, you might see Stromberg down and Chris Paul up, but being that he showed he could play guard, I think that no other big surprises. I'm a little surprised that Mitchell Tinsley is down. I would have thought they would have made him active. I know he's the last wide receiver, but if you're figuring to throw it around and guys are going to be rotating in and out and things like that, I would think, hey, another wide receiver is just another weapon, another opportunity to make a play. So I figure we'd get that. But outside of that, no, I think that makes sense. What do you think about? I saw it said James Smith-Williams is going to start for Chase. Is that how do you feel about that?
Not totally unexpected, but they do everything in rotation. So I'd expect a lot of the young guys to get rotations too. I think Andre Jones is going to get some work. KJ Henry, all those guys are going to see some time, I think. So I'm okay with it because again, I don't love the offensive line from the Cardinals anyway. So we're going to be successful. So if this was a better and more ferocious offensive line, maybe I'm like, hey, what are we doing here? But I hope by the time we get to that point in the season that Chase Young is healthy and able to put on the field. So um,
Agreed.
Brian, inactives for the Cardinals. Tell me if you've heard of these people before, because generally I have not. Sterling Thomas the fifth, a cornerback, Owen Papo, linebacker Dante Stills, defensive line. We have offensive line Carter O'Donnell, offensive line Kelvin Beachum. We've heard of that guy. Offensive line Ilm Manning, and tight end Elijah Higgins. So that essentially sounds like the practice squad for the worst team in the league that's inactive today. So
Yeah, Sterling Thompson the third sounds like a state senator somewhere. Like yeah, I don't know any of those other names. Owen Papo, was that guy a backup tight end or something like that? Maybe, but yeah,
maybe.
I don't think those names are of any kind of impact or anything like that. I think you mentioned earlier the big ones at Hollywood Brown and Zach Ertz, getting those guys back for the Cardinals is big, right? They're two big targets. I mean, that and Rondell Moore are probably the big targets on their offense. So no, it'll be exciting to see how they match up against the secondary and if we can cover those guys.
I like Rondell Moore more than most. But again, you have Josh Dobbs, who's been with the team for about a week and a half as your quarterback. What on earth do you think is the reason they started Josh Dobbs over Clayton Tune, who's been with the team the whole offseason, Brian?
Well, there's a couple things to think about, and none of it is good for the Cardinals. But Colt McCoy took all the first team reps, OTAs, mini camps, and preseason. Clayton Tune didn't get any of the first team reps. So from that standpoint, there's not a lot of experience there. Also, he's a rookie, right? And if you watched any of those games, he made some passes, but he also, was sailing the ball really, really just kind of high and, not anywhere near the receivers. Josh Dobbs, there's familiarity with the offense. That doesn't mean he can execute the offense, but he knows the offense from that standpoint. And that's something that you don't get with Clayton Tune. He doesn't fully know the offense yet. Josh Dobbs can come in, call all the plays, know what he's supposed to do. Again, when the ball snapped, can he actually do it? That's the other thing. And we'll see if he can actually do that today. But I think that's really it, because the offensive coordinator came from Cleveland, was the quarterback coach there, who, guess what? Josh Dobbs was there also in Cleveland as well. So he knows that coach, he knows the offense and some of the offense that they're going to be running. So I think it's really just about familiarity, being able to get the guys in and out of the huddle.
Yeah. What do you think about special teams today? Are you at all concerned about specials with the weather?
No, if anything, maybe a slightly slower field gives our special teams, at least the return side of it, maybe a little bit better opportunity. So I like to see whoever's doing kick return. I think we saw during the week it was either Gibson or Pringle for kick return, and then punt return is going to be Crowder now. So hopefully that helps them. I don't think it will hurt too much, in kicking field goals or anything like that. And the kick coverage team, again, that should also help as well too. Now, if it becomes a monsoon out there and the field's waterlogged, all that goes out the window, and you're probably just looking at guys slipping and sliding all day.
Yeah, I hope Pringle is the primary kick returner and Gibson sort of the up guy. I want to see Gibson in usage in the pass game
Yeah.
throughout the entire game, out of the backfield, in the slot, split out wide, in motion. Let me finally see what we got teased with Gibson against the Jaguars in week 1 of last year, but never really saw again, right? That guy that has 7 catches, has 10 to 12 rushes, 13 rushes, etc. Him fully materializing into what we think he can be in the offense in general. And I think Bieniemy is the right guy to do that. Who do you think is getting? I guess that answer is Gibson. I was going to ask you who you think's getting all the third down pass work, including
Yeah.
blocking, but there really isn't anybody else, right?
Yeah, I think it absolutely is going to be Gibson. And I was thinking about this the other day. Like, this offense here, I think it's probably 2 years too late for like a guy like JD McKissick. I mean, you saw that one year with where Alex Smith got most of the starts. JD McKissick had 80 passes, and they were all coming out of the backfield, check down, swing passes. and he was able to hit him early in the down, and he was able to pick up big yards. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see from Gibson is, get him these little short swing passes that are almost de facto run plays for us, and just let him use his ability after the catch and take a 3-yard check down and turn it into a 12-yard gain. Like that's what we need from him, and I think you're going to see a lot of that from him, and that'll be a good thing. That'll just keep the chains moving and keep the offense on time.
Yeah, and I think when you think about Kansas City's offense, they used a lot of Jerick McKinnon in the red zone and
Yep.
on third down. They threw the ball to the running back a ton, and he
Yep.
led them in touchdowns, I believe, last year.
Yeah, yeah,
So
9.
so what I'm going to say is, I think in addition to Gibson, you'll probably see Curtis Samuel in that role quite a bit as well, coming out of the backfield. We saw that was what Scott Turner wanted to do on every single play, but I think Eric Bieniemy would do it effectively, right? And so you'll see a mix between Gibson and Curtis Samuel there. Um, Curtis Samuel this preseason, this offseason, really hasn't been in focus, at least from what we've seen of the offense. Do you think that's really just more because they understand his capabilities already and they're trying to fill out the rest of the offense, and then he'll actually be much more involved once the games start?
Yeah, I certainly think he'll be involved because Eric Bieniemy, if you've heard him talk, he's always talked about building the pass game, keeping every player in mind when building a pass game. So he'll certainly have his role. I think the problem becomes, who are you going to take snaps away from, or targets away from, I should say, in terms of Terry and Jahan and Logan and Gibson, and fit him in there? Because I think Eric's got a lot of things planned for Terry and Jahan. I mean, think about that. Like, those two guys are going to come first. They're going to eat first, and then you're going to get to Curtis. So I think he'll have a role. I just don't know how big it will be. And it's not because he's bad or, anybody's down on him. It's going to be a lot of mouths to feed. I mean, the ball's going to be going all kinds of places. And, at the end of the day, would you want it in Terry or Jahan's hands? Or Curtis, not that I don't trust Curtis, but I take those other two guys first to start off with. So I think just by virtue of, hey, he's got some other guys that are ahead of him who are going to get, a majority of the targets is all.
I like all of them. Just to be honest with you, I think all of them. It could be any
That's
of them,
all we've
really. I
had in a
think it'd be
while.
like that any week. Yeah. Our guy Will Diggs says 30-10 Commanders win. I
Yeah,
like
love
it.
it. Love
I
it.
like that. That
Yeah.
might be 7 points more than the Cardinals will be willing to score, but I like that. He's nervous too. Why is everybody nervous? This is
I
not a
think
trap game. This is
I
not a
think
trap game.
I think in the past 25 years under Snyder, we've had games where we're supposed to win, right? Where things lined up like this. The other team is pulling guys and we look like we're coming off a hot, and we lay the biggest of eggs. We
Not
lay,
today.
and I think so many people, and I get that, I get that. I think so many people are just kind of snake bitten by that. That's why we're all nervous. But I think that day's gone. I think you've got somebody in Eric Bieniemy who's just like, nah, we're not doing that. Like, he's got things to prove, outside of the team. Like, he's got a lot riding on this thing here. So I don't think he's going to want this group to fail. If Eric has to get out there and play quarterback, he's going to do it because he wants to win that badly. So I'm excited for it.
Listen, man, when I was a little kid, I used to turn on the TV and Herman Moore and Aeneas Williams and those Cardinals
Yeah.
were always finding a way to keep it close and then beating us. What was the other guy that was really good for Larry Centers? Those guys,
Oh yeah.
right? On the
Centers. Yeah.
Cardinals back then with those stupid uniforms and their
Mhm.
dumb team. This ain't that group of Cardinals, though. I can promise you that much. This is not that group of Cardinals. I'm telling you guys, feel good about this. Dude, the energy coming through the TV from everybody at the stadium is going to be insane. I am just looking forward to this more than like I said before. I can't remember the last time I was this excited and this confident going into a game. All right, Brian, who's going to lead the team in rushes today? You think Brian Robinson?
I think he will, but not by a big margin. I think Chris Rodriguez will get a bunch of carries in there too. I still think Robinson will lead the team in rushing, but Rodriguez will get a bunch of carries, especially today where it's wet. This is a perfect opportunity for him just to kind of bulldoze into that defense and just kind of wear them out a little bit.
Over under 30 throws for Sam Howell.
I'm going over again, unless it's like a lake out there and these guys are swimming trying to get to the first down. they're going to throw it. Like this, the enemy, like we've seen kind of his plan in terms of volume of pass versus run. Like it's modern football. Like he's gonna want to run this thing. Ron, I know Ron likes that, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but I don't think that's going to be happening here. Not today.
You think? Oh wow, over 30. Okay.
Oh yeah. I see. So here's the crazy thing. I didn't think that going into last season. And what did Scott Turner do? Like the first 5 games, Carson threw it 40 plus times. He was leading
Yeah.
the league. And I was just like, are y'all crazy with this? But different offense, of course. But I just think that EB, has been in that Andy Reid, that West Coast system for far too long to say, all right, buckle up for 30 carries a game.
Yeah, I feel you. I think he'll be at 27 or less. I truly think that because I just think we're going to be up by so much, and this game's going to be over early. How about this? Over under 3 field goal attempts by Joey Sly.
I'm going under. And I'm going under because I think we're going to score points this time. If this was last year, I'd say over, way over, because we couldn't score nothing. We were always relying on field goals. So I think we're going to end up scoring more touchdowns today. So I'm going to go under with him.
Nice. So listen, K80 Tech is using Sam Howell as his DraftKings quarterback today.
Ooh.
My brother, you must feel really good about how I love it, man. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
a bold move, though. That is a bold move.
And if you're new to DraftKings, go use CDP 11. That's Commanders Declassified Podcast 11, and get you some free stuff there that way.
That's right. Use our promo code there. They do sponsor this podcast. Shout out to DraftKings.
Yep.
He also has 42-14 as the score. Man, let me see 40 points. It has been a long time, Brian, since we got 40 plus points in a game comfortably.
Can you imagine what social media will be like after a 42-14 win next week? Or I guess is this week. What that would be like the beat reporters, fans on Twitter, everybody would be so happy if we got that score.
Man, if we got 40 points, Sam Howell would be on Good Morning Football, Good Morning America, Good Night Pacific Coast, Good Night Taiwan. He'd be everywhere, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Get that 40 piece, though. I like it. Well, we're going to drop a 40 burger today just because K80 Tick says so. It's going to happen. I'm with it. Let's make it happen. Brian, what are you eating today during the game?
Well, I'm not eating a whole bunch today. Tonight, though, I'm doing a piece of picanha, which is a Brazilian cut of meat steak. Doing that on the grill. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can eat a whole bunch today during this game. I'm going to be too nervous. So once we get that, but for dinner tonight, some picanha is going to be great on the grill.
All right, I'm gonna be the simpleton. I'm making nachos, chili dogs, all that stuff. Regular week 1 football food. I'm about to go make that in just a minute. Gonna chill. Shoot, man, I'm ready for this.
Hey,
Shout out to Eric too, who couldn't be with us. Yeah, what's up, Brian?
I was gonna say they got half price hot dogs at the stadium now. Just think about something that's such a no brainer. Like, why do you have to have a hot dog be $15? Like Costco has had hot dogs for $1.50 for like 30 years. Right. So I'm happy that there's some cheaper beer and some cheaper food options for people bringing their families and stuff like that. Like, that's just crazy. Get a cheap hot dog out there for the people to eat.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you can't have salad on game day. Get that pizza. Get that pizza.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, pizza. Like what? So.
Yeah. K80. I know. Look, I bought a new couch for my little office here. I'm gonna watch the game from too, but I'm with you. I'm gonna be standing the whole time. Yep. That was money wasted on my part, but it's worth it because look, I'm gonna enjoy the Commanders no matter what. So
that's it.
All right, everybody, go get ready for the game. We're gonna end our stream here. I gotta make my chili and my nacho cheese and all that stuff for the game, so I can be ready for the kickoff at 1:00. Shout out to everybody watching with us. Shout out to Mike at the game, Eric at home. Hey guys, if you're at the game and you somehow watching this, rep loud. If you're at home, we want to hear you through the TV, yell through the TV because it's gonna be a fun one. Go Commanders! Shout out to Josh Harris, Eric Bieniemy, Rivera putting this thing together. Jack Del Rio for holding the defense together. This is it, Brian. We're gonna start this new era off the right way, aren't we?
Got to. We got no other choice. Like everything's lined up our way. We just got to hit it. We just got to hit it out of the park. Everything's lined up our way.
Man, this is gonna be so much fun. All right, we'll catch you guys on the post-game show. I don't know if we'll do it live or not. We might. But if not, catch us on Tuesdays too. I think we actually drop on Wednesdays with our normal episodes. Commanders Declassified Podcast. We appreciate you checking in with us. This is our live pregame show. Enjoy the game.